All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm sitting here on my 2004 Pontiac Vibe GT. I've had this car for like a year and a half now. I love this car. It's a great little car. But it's had a pretty bad oil leak, and I just did an oil change, changed the air filter, just doing a service, checking all the fluids and stuff. And I finally decided to look and see where the oil leak is coming from, and it appears to be the valve cover. So I'm going to do a quick little video here to show you guys how to change the valve cover gasket on this. So a lot of people, when they are thinking about tackling something like this, they'll Google it or YouTube it, to figure out, what they're getting themselves into. So that's basically what I'm doing here. I'm going to document this so that anybody who wants to do it, can look at this and get a quick idea of what it takes to change out a valve cover gasket on a Pontiac Vibe or a Toyota Matrix, which, if you don't know, a Vibe is the Matrix, pretty much the same thing. Pontiac decided to slap some weird, plastic body stuff on it, spruce it up a little bit, make it a little less plain than the Matrix is. But this Vibe GT is basically a Matrix XRS. It's got a 2ZZ engine, but I'm pretty sure the standard 1ZZ is the same because the part number for this, I believe, is the same as well. And so we're going to get to it. We're going to go ahead and start pulling this valve cover off, and we'll show you guys how to change that gasket. Alright, so first of all, there's normally an engine cover on here. I've already got that off of here. It's right here. So this guy's normally on here, and you can't see anything. So, 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. Mine actually had 3 in it. For some reason that one on this side was missing. So this one right here is just a stud, so there's a little nut. Pull that guy off of there. So next, you got yourself a bunch of 10 millimeters holding this valve cover on. So you just go around, like right there. I just took one out that wasn't in the valve cover. The wrong one out. Okay. Valve cover. Looks like that wiring harness needs to be pulled out of the way. That's what holds the wiring harness on. Alright, so we got this guy here. I believe this is the crankcase vent stuff here. So we're going to have to pull, what does it look like, two 10s here. Pull that guy off of there. It looks like, oh, we got one more. So we got a few things in the way still. So one, we're going to have to pull these coils out of here. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the wiring. More 10 millimeters. All right. So these all look pretty clean. This one's got a tiny bit of oil coming down in there. Tiny bit of oil in that one. Not too bad. All right, so we got those off. Now there's a wiring harness. That's got another couple 10s. So you're going to have to get that out of the way. Couple 10 millimeter nuts. That guy comes up out of there. Looks like there's one wire coming out of the back of that. But so you got that guy. So we'll get him out of the way. And then there's 2 hose clamps over here. Pop that hose off. Bam, that's free. Now we can get to the last bolt that we couldn't reach right there underneath those hoses. Okay, there's those 2. All right, so that's loose. There we go. It's just the seals that hold it onto those coils, where the coils go down into the motor. Spark plugs. Oh, I should have gotten spark plugs. I don't know know when the spark plugs are changed. Oh God, that's hot. It's a little warm. All right, there is your valve cover. Changeover timing looks good. Not too crazy in here. Actually, you know, it's got this brownish tinge to it, but it's not really any sludge. That's good. It's good. When I got this car, I figured it was well taken care of from, you know, the records that were kept and the lady that owned it, and it looks like I was right. I mean, it was at least well taken care of mechanically. It lived in Portland, so it's got some battle scars. But mechanically speaking, this car was serviced and worked on at a dealership, so it's been very well taken care of. I'm gonna grab a socket. We're gonna pull one of those spark plugs out, see what those look like. All right, so the car runs good. So, you know, these are probably fine, but let's take a look at them. Like I said, this car was serviced at a dealership, so who knows? They could have been changed out not that long ago. But the car just passed 200,000 miles, by the way. Just recently. So, NGK iridiums. It's a little dirty. That gap seems pretty massive. I'm gonna get a new set of spark plugs for this thing. You know what? Just because. All right, so here's our gasket set. VS50542R. This is what guys at AutoZone said I needed. It's a Felpro set. Let's take a look at it and see if it looks correct to start with. Okay, so we got this guy here. Oh wow, it's one thing. I didn't know that. What's this? We got two little... Alright, so that's a difference from this, and I think that you're actually supposed to cut these out. Or no, they'll fit in there like that, looks like. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that's right, to be honest with you. It's not even... See, I think that they got me the wrong... Yeah. They probably got me the one for the 1ZZ. This is a 2ZZ. Alright. So, good thing we checked that. We gotta go back to the parts store. AutoZone did me wrong. Not that surprised. So AutoZone did me dirty, give me the wrong parts. There's definitely a difference between a 1ZZ and a 2ZZ valve cover gasket. They just didn't ask me if it was the uncommon engine versus the common engine. So, but spark plugs I did find out. So this is the one that I pulled out of there, and this is the exact same plug. Now, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but this gap in this one is much bigger than on this one, and that's because the tip, so the very tip of this thing basically got eaten away on this one. So we got these fresh spark plugs. We're gonna go ahead and throw these in right now, and we gotta wait for our but we have to wait for our valve cover gasket till the morning because I didn't have it in stock. So that's a bummer. You know, I hate having to leave a project overnight, something that's simple like this. It's just annoying. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these spark plugs back in, and then we'll check back in with you in the morning when we get this valve cover gasket in here, and we'll get that sucker installed as well. All right, I wanted to mention something. I put some anti-seize on the spark plugs, just on the threads. Do not put anti-seize, do not get anti-seize on the electrode. So make sure you just get it on the threads. It's pretty important. You know, the bodies of these spark plugs are made of steel, and then the head is made of aluminum, and there's some sort of chemical process, oxidation, that causes these things to basically seize together, you know, in some cases. So I always like to put anti-seize on my spark plugs because I don't want to seize spark plug in the head. So thought I'd mention that. We'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning, everybody. We are back at it. I just got back from the parts store, and this hopefully is the correct Velcro part number for this engine. So, let's get this valve cover back off of here and see if this gasket fits. We gotta pull this guy. There's our old gasket. Alright, so then you got these little tabs here that hold these seals in for the spark plugs. So we're gonna pry those out of the way. And this should pop up out of here. Need a bigger pry bar. Let's try this one. Woo! There it goes. Oh, those are super brittle. That just broke. It's not even the whole seal. Should just pop out of there. They're really stiff and brittle, so take a little bit of extra force. So I'm gonna go clean this up real quick. Just give a little brake clean, spray down and whatnot. All right, so we're gonna start with these spark plug seals. Yep, definitely go that way. Okay. So we're gonna put these down in here. All right, let's go ahead and give these a little. Okay. All right, so the next thing is the gasket. Let's hope this is right. There we go. That's what you want. Okay. Get it in there real good. Make sure it's even. The last thing we're going to do before installing this is give the head a little wipe. A couple spots there. Just make sure to go around and clean it up before we put that new gasket on there. See if we can get this thing in here without screwing anything up. Goes this way. Gotta get it under this wiring harness. That. Shimmy that down over there. Make sure everything's out of the way. Hey, that's it. That thing is on there. Exactly where we want it to be. Okay. So now we're just reversing the process here. Put all the valve cover bolts in, put these two guys back on. Make sure the wiring harness goes back in, coils, all that stuff. Alright, so there you go. Valve cover gasket done along with the spark plugs. As I said earlier in the video, I already did oil change and air filter and checked all the fluids on this thing, so this thing's ready to go for a little bit. You're probably going to see this thing back in here when we get new headlights. I'm getting new headlights for this thing, and we're gonna try and figure out how to straighten all this. Hopefully we're gonna try and straighten some of this out and get it looking normal again. So yeah, I hope some of you found this entertaining, some of you found it useful. Go ahead and smash that like button for me, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell if you want to get notified of new videos coming out every Wednesday and Saturday. Stay tuned, we got a lot more content coming up. We got mini bike content, racing content, MR2 content, just random things that I have to do around the house content. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.